Let's talk about employee rescreening. You know that feeling, right? For a lot of us, it's just this chaotic fire drill, a chore we have to get through to check a compliance box. But what if it wasn't? What if it could be a calm, predictable, and, frankly, a powerful business control? Today, we're going to build the playbook to take you from that chaos to real control. And it all starts with one kind of surprising idea.
I know, that probably sounds completely backwards. But this idea is the key to this whole explainer. So many teams just burn through their budgets and create a ton of friction by checking everybody all the time. But the goal isn't just to do more checks, it's to do the right checks on the right people and at exactly the right time.
Okay, so why is this such a big deal right now? Well, because the whole conversation has changed. It's really not a question of if you should be rescreening anymore. Now it's all about how you can build a program that's actually defensible, efficient, and, really reduces your risk.
There are really three major forces pushing this, making it pretty much unavoidable. First up, the auditors. Especially for frameworks like SOC 2, they now expect to see ongoing verification. The old "we hire good people" line just doesn't cut it anymore. Second, your own clients are demanding it right in their contracts. And third, our whole understanding of insider risk has changed. The threat isn't just some bad actor from day one. It can be a really good, trusted employee whose life circumstances have changed.
So, this brings us to the big solution, the foundational principle. To avoid that trap of over-screening everyone, you have to stop thinking about job titles and start thinking in risk tiers. It's a really simple shift in perspective, but trust me, it changes absolutely everything.
And this, right here, this is the whole game. The typical way, just using an org chart, that leads to what I call compliance theater. It looks like you're busy, it looks like you're doing something, but it's not actually managing any real risk. The right way focuses on an access map. It's not about what your title is, it's about what systems you can touch and what kind of impact you could have. So let's make this real. What does a tier system actually look like? Well, you can break it down into three simple tiers. You've got your high-risk roles. Think database admins, system admins, people who can cause immediate, serious damage. Then you've got medium risk, like an HR generalist. They have significant access, sure, but there's usually some oversight. And finally, standard risk roles, where access is limited and there's a lot of natural supervision. This is how you start focusing your energy and your budget.
All right, so we know why we need to do this and who we need to focus on. Now for the practical part, we've got to design the how often, your cadence model. And this is really the engine of your whole policy.
To build a model that'll actually stand up to scrutiny, you need these four key things. First, you need your risk tiers, which we just covered. Second, you need cadence ranges, timeframes, that you can actually defend. Third, you have to decide which checks are appropriate for each tier. And finally, you absolutely need clear triggers for checks that happen outside of that regular schedule. So let's talk numbers. What's a good defensible range? Well, for your high-risk folks, your sysadmins, your finance approvers, you're looking at a check every 12 to 18 months. This really shrinks the window where a major change in their circumstances could fly under the radar. Now, for those medium-risk roles, the ones with supervised access to sensitive information, you can widen that out a bit. The sweet spot is usually around 18 to 24 months. It's a great balance between managing risk and being operationally efficient. And finally, for your standard risk people, the ones with a lot of natural oversight, you can stretch that cycle way out to 24 or even 36 months. This lets you put your time and money where it's going to have the biggest impact. But listen, a really smart program doesn't just run on a timer. It has to be dynamic. It has to respond to specific events. For instance, if someone gets promoted into a higher risk tier, or they move to a new country, boom, that should trigger an immediate off-cycle check. This is what makes your program responsive to risk as it happens, in real time.
Okay, so you've done the hard work. You've designed this awesome, smart, risk-based program. You're done, right? Well, not quite. Now comes the part that the auditors really care about, proving you did it. This is where we build the evidence pack that turns a nightmare audit into just another Tuesday.
And this is a line you need to burn into your brain. To an auditor, your good intentions mean absolutely nothing. It's all about disciplined, consistent documentation. If you can't show them a clean record that a check was done, then for all intents and purposes, it never happened, period. The good news is, your entire evidence pack really just boils down to 4 essential documents. You need an approvals log to show you have proper governance, a run log to prove the program is actually running, an exception register to show you control any deviations, and finally, an export index, basically a table of contents to make it super easy for an auditor to find everything.
Let's get super practical for a second. This is what a really strong run log entry looks like. It's simple, it's clean, and it tells a complete story. You can see the person's risk tier, exactly what was checked, when it was done, the outcome, and, this is critical, the date the next check is due. That shows you're not just reacting, you're in control.
So what's the end goal here? What are you aiming for with all this evidence? It's simple. You want it to be boringly consistent. Seriously. Auditors don't want surprises or clever spreadsheets. They want predictable, tidy records that look the same every single time they ask. When you can deliver that, it just screams that you have a mature, well-run control.
Okay, we've gone through all this work, designing the tiers, setting the cadences, keeping these meticulous records. So what's the real payoff here? It comes down to one word: predictability. And in the world of business, predictability is worth its weight in gold.
I mean, just look at the difference here. The transformation is night and day. You go from the total chaos of audit fire drills and scrambling to find evidence, to the calm control of having tidy evidence packs and smooth client renewals. You literally trade panic for process. So when you boil it all down, what are you actually buying when you invest in a proper rescreening program? You're buying risk reduction because you're shrinking the time a problem can go unnoticed. You're buying audit efficiency, which saves everybody's valuable time. You're buying revenue protection because you're making client renewals so much smoother. And you're buying operational resilience. See, it's a strategic investment, not just another compliance cost. And that brings us to the final question, the one you need to ask yourself when you look at your own practices. Is your rescreening program a genuine risk-reducing control, or is it just compliance theater? Because the answer to that question makes all the difference in the world.